Hello everyone, today I'm going to be talking about a concept that has been heavily requested in, I believe all of my, basically in real life and in the comments, basically in every single video, there are comments kind of asking about this, and that is the concept of dark psychology. Now, what is dark psychology? I'm going to be making multiple videos on this, by the way. This is kind of an introduction. This is kind of a getting you into dark psychology, because this is an important concept to master for your entire life. There are implications on the rest of your entire fucking life if you can understand this. So what exactly is dark psychology? What am I teaching you? It would kind of fit the point to just say it outright. So I'm going to give you an example that will kind of explain like why you should do it, I guess, or the values, I guess, of doing it. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, I guess for this example, I'm going to go way back, like a decade, essentially. When I was 14, I was sent to this summer camp by my parents, and it wasn't like it was kind of vaguely Christian. It wasn't like, so like there were like pictures of Jesus in all the cabins, and like usually like when the adults kind of in charge of the camp, like when they would do like the big like fireside things like every 2 days, I think, there would be like they would have like lessons. They would like kind of give like life lessons, and then they would kind of like always seem to talk about Jesus and stuff, but it was kind of naturally segued in there, as if it was like, oh, like they were just like relating it to their life, like as if like they weren't like, I guess, making the whole thing about Jesus or like about the Bible, but it was just like kind of like a connection they had made, I guess. That was, so anyways, yeah, so it's kind of like the thing is, like, again, it's not like it wasn't like a strict, like, it wasn't like a Christian camp per se, but like there were like clear like Christian overtones. I think it was maybe like a casual Christian camp. I don't know if that exists, but maybe just like the guy who owned it was like not vaguely, but like just a Christian, but like he didn't want to like make the camp, only for Christians, and so it just kind of like seeped in there, and then he, is what I don't know. I'm obviously not going to tell the name of the camp. That would, I don't want to get doxxed or whatever. But yeah, anyway, so I go to this camp, right? And the guy I'm going to be talking about was my camp leader. Now, he was like, I'm 14, so I think he was like 19, 20. He's like he's not like the guy in charge. He's like the adult. Well, I mean, he is an adult, but like he's not like the adult. He's just like the kind of the chaperone almost. Like he would be like the ones like that would like sleep in the cabin with us, and like just basically the supervisor essentially. But also like kind of supposed to be like a mentor figure, but like not trust with everything, because again, he was only like he was only like 18 or whatever. And this guy was, what was his last name? Jacob. His name was Jacob, Schmidt. Schmidt, that's right. So Jacob Schmidt, maybe I shouldn't say the full name, whatever. Anyways, Jacob was basically like, as a 14-year-old boy, like he was like kind of not like a god, but like he was like very obviously cool. He wasn't like a movie star, like the ideal, like, oh, I want to live Jacob's, because I mean, he was like kind of just like a 18-year-old, 19-year-old stoner, but he was like very obviously like someone you wanted to kind of be friends with, because he was cool. He was genuinely just cool, is what it was. He was, like, you just kind of looked up to him as like a, an adolescent male, because he kind of exuded confidence and exuded like, I don't give a shit, and like, he was just cool. He was just kind of cool, right? And obviously he was like kind of the leader too, and so he had like this also like sort of aura. But yeah, so he had this kind of aura about him. But he was the main thing is that he was just a very convincing, and I should say that he was my leader, and it was all boys in my like cabins, right? Obviously it was a co-ed. I shouldn't go into too much detail, but just to know that he was like the leader of my group, and my group was all boys, right? And so anyways, Jacob was just like, he could just kind of get away with, he had in addition to being cool, and that's how I could just be part of it. That's not really, the dark psychology part. Well, it kind of is a little, but the main thing was that he had a way of just convincing people. He had a way with words, essentially. He had a way of just convincing people to do things that he wanted. He just had like an authority, and he had like he kind of commanded aura, and he could kind of just get people to do shit to help him, basically just for his own benefit, right? So the big example was, so Jacob and his friend Ryan, they were our co-counselors, or they like basically, so the way the camp worked is we always needed to be like literally like 24/7, I guess, like legally speaking almost. They needed to have like everyone under supervision, basically. Not in the bathrooms and shit, but just like vaguely being watched at all times. And so obviously, Jacob couldn't do that 24/7. And so Jacob and his friend, Jacob and the other guy, Ryan, were basically like, they would share like duties. They were basically like, whenever, Jacob was off, Ryan would be watching us, and whenever Ryan was off, Jacob would be watching us. But the thing was, Jacob and Ryan were actually pretty close friends. I don't know if they knew each other outside of camp, but I think they'd done it the summer before, at least. They somehow knew each other before the year even started, so they were like already kind of good friends. And so whenever Jacob was, because if Jacob was watching us, then Ryan had to, if Jacob, during Jacob's free time, Ryan would have to be watching us. And so obviously the two couldn't like share free times, essentially, right? And so what Jacob would do, because if you want to hang out, whenever you want to hang out with Ryan, this would be a lot. So he would essentially, he would do two things. For one, he had this really good way with peer pressuring. So he would just say, oh, like, if you tell the counselor, you tell like the lead counselor people, right? I don't remember. They had like a name. They had like a whatever. If you basically said that if you would rat on me that I'm not watching you right now, you're a fucking bitch. And he said fucking bitch, right? That's a direct quote. He would just say like, you're a fucking bitch if you rat on me, by the way. And so he would just go fuck off with Ryan, right? He would go do they would usually just go smoke pot, I think. I didn't. Well, no, did I? I don't think. I think I was with them once when they were doing it, but I don't think they gave it to me. Yeah, I don't think so. I might have like hotboxed with them. Yeah, but no, I wasn't. Yeah. So yeah, they basically just go off and smoke pot, right? And kind of leave us, and then like obviously like if one of us rats on him, we don't want to be a fucking bitch. And so that like he kind of like knew the exact thing to say to get us like to not go and rat on him, right? Like he basically like if he would have said like you're like a loser, like maybe it wouldn't have convinced us. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, he had this way of like kind of spinning words around to get exactly what he wanted. His other sort of like trick would be he would like kind of convince us to want to do something. So he'd say like, oh, like go to the so like clearly like if we're in like the middle of like a field, and Jacob and Ryan are both off like getting high behind like the bathrooms or whatever, right? Then like someone would know, like people would notice like where the fuck these kids don't have any don't have a counselor watching over them. And so they would like they were very good at convincing us to go play archery. So archery was like kind of like the archery section was like kind of like cordoned off in a part of the camp, and only one group could be there at a time, and you had to reserve it. And so he would always like kind of like convince us, let's go do archery. You know what I'm saying? And so yeah, and then so basically he was very convincing at making us. None of us really like to do archery. We kind of get bored doing it. But he would like always kind of convince us like, oh, let's go to archery. I signed us up for 3 slots today, right? And we would just like kind of go along with it. And then obviously like he would go fuck off with Ryan, and then he would also say, by the way, like yeah, he would lay it on then either we wouldn't even notice, or he would just say like, by the way, yeah, if you rat on me that I'm doing stuff, then you're a fucking bitch and you fucking suck, and I think he did say I'll beat the shit out of you, but like I didn't believe it. I didn't think he was gonna beat the shit out of us. But maybe that probably wasn't for me, right? He was probably aiming that at the other like gullible kids that he was gonna do that. So that so that was like so, and I think it did so that was like kind of, he was good at like manipulating entire groups, right? But he also like had a way with like individual kids. So there was this one kid, oh my god, what was his name? Oh no, his name was also, it was either also Jacob, or I think his name was Jake, actually. I think yeah. That's why yeah, maybe was like kind of why he was able to convince him. Basically, so this kid, I'm gonna assume it was Jake. This kid Jake, he was like the youngest of the group. He was like 11, I think. If even that, he might have turned 11 like during the camp was like 6-7 weeks. He might have turned 11 during the camp, I think. Yeah. So this kid, Jake, and like, kind of like the most like naive, like gullible, like little kid, right? Like by far the youngest. I think like the next youngest kid was like at least 12. So, Jacob would always convince Jake, not like bully him into it, but like he would always like kind of tease him and get him to like just lick shit. Like, so he'd get him like lick the fucking dirt or lick, the wall of the cabin or like lick, like underneath the bed, right? Like he was just he kind of just convinced all the time, just convince a kid like, you gotta fucking lick this or, whatever. And so the Jake kid would just lick everything. It was really gross. But like he would somehow convince him. I have no clue. I wouldn't, I don't think he could have done it on me. But maybe he wasn't like, maybe just because I hadn't seen how he would like kind of, specifically do his sort of talk to get me to do it. Maybe he would have had a way to do it to me at 14, that I couldn't have seen. So anyways, yeah. And then once, there was another counselor that Jacob did not like at all in like a different cabin. And once, at one point, in like 1 week, like kind of 2/3 into the whole thing, yeah, like towards the end, like Jake had like diarrhea or something. It was really gross. Because there was just an outhouse, and like I think he missed the floor one time. That was fucking disgusting. And so the Jake kid has diarrhea, and Jacob goes and he convinces the Jake kid to go shit in this other counselor who Jacob didn't like. I think her name was April, and he got Jake to go shit like either in or next to April's bed. It was just like all over the fucking floor. Like literally on the fucking floor. Like he knew the people were in there, and he convinced Jacob to go in there and fucking shit on the bed or on the floor. Like disgusting. I didn't see it. And then they thought like, they said it was like raccoon. Basically, they passed it off as, I can't believe they said it was like raccoon shit that was everywhere. I don't know how the fuck he convinced the J kid to do that. That to me, that's basically what I'm getting at. Is dark psychology is the ability to what is the ability to? It's basically just the ability to get people to do things for your own personal benefit that are at extreme negative consequence. So do things that you want them to do for your own personal benefit that are usually kind of immoral, but also that they wouldn't want to do otherwise. Basically against their. So I mean, it was obviously like against, I guess, the Jake kid. Like it wasn't to his benefit to go shit all over the floor, right? So, yeah, like, I mean, that's not the whole thing, but it's basically just like tactics you can use on people to get them to do things that they would otherwise never do. Because you're basically understanding dark recesses of the human mind, things that, most people don't even know about, couldn't even dream about. Basically, you're understanding systems inherent in the human mind at such a minute level that you're able to essentially like manipulate them with complete ease and with completely, in like like a natural, right? Basically, it's like child's play essentially, right? And so dark psychology are like sort of like, yeah, these secret methods that give you so much access to information and so much access to manipulation tactics that otherwise you'd never even, dream of. So, yeah, that's dark psychology. Where was I going with this? Oh, yeah. So this is the first video of many that's going to be on this topic. The other ones are going to be kind of like more like applications. They won't be like kind of a story time video sort of like type deal as this was. But yeah, that's basically, yeah, I think that I'm good with the video. I'm trying to think if I got over it, or if I went over everything. Oh shit, I'm forgetting something. I know I'm forgetting something. Oh shit. Oh, that's right. Jacob got the Jake kid to put his mouth like in the showers and like the public showers. He got him to put his mouth like over one of the grates and I think like suck up, and then the Jake kid like vomited like the next day. That was after I think he had diarrhea, so I don't think that caused the diarrhea. that was insane. I can't believe the J Kid ever, that was nasty. That was honestly kind of gross. But that again, like, can you imagine being able to do that? Can you imagine being able to just talk to someone and convince them to do something like that? That's what we're getting at with these videos. So anyways, that is Dark Psychology for you. I'll be seeing you in the next one. Bye-bye.